while many of us are promoting peace, there are still politicians who view war overseas, who view war within our own country, who view civil war in our own country, who view hatred of one group of Americans against the other, which is, clearly the antithesis of peace, as a useful tool or weapon to achieve and hold political power. And, most recently now we've got, this is just where this has ended up. First of all, it looks like the deranged mass, I shouldn't even call him deranged, the terrorist mass murderer in Colorado City was the grandson of GOP insurrectionist and California Assemblyman Randy Vopel from Santee, California. It's being reported over at Daily Edge on Twitter. Unprecedented is a newsletter that it's called the Daily Edge, actually, and so the headline is Unprecedented, that is available over on Substack, but to which I subscribe. And the author of this, Richard Hine, notes that the seed, in his opinion, the seed of this mass slaughter at the Q Club was, quote, was planted after the 30 November 2021 Oxford High School shooting that killed 4 in Michigan. That's when Colorado Congresswoman Lauren Boebert decided to release a family Christmas card that had more in common with jihadist recruitment propaganda than shepherds watching their flocks by night. And she tweeted out a picture of herself and her 4 children, or maybe it's 5, I guess four boys, each one holding an assault weapon. He goes on to say, or maybe it was one of the 12 times that Representative Boebert actively stoked LGBTQ violence, propelling her to the number 3 spot on the LGBTQ nation's top 10 list of the most hateful people on Twitter. Following passage of Florida's Don't Say Gay bill, which took effect on July 1st, he notes, anti-LGBTQ grooming rhetoric, that is people trying to groom terrorists to kill queer people, anti-LGBTQ grooming rhetoric surged a whopping 406% online. This is following Ron DeSantis' Don't Say Gay law, for an average of 6,607 tweets a day, a huge increase from the 1,300 tweets the month before. Marjorie Taylor Greene, he writes, was top of the list of hateful tweeters. Christina Pushaw, press secretary to Republican Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, finished in 6th place. Tweets from the top 10, anti-LGBTQ tweeters, the hate tweeters, tweets from the top 10 posters were viewed an estimated 48 million times and were responsible for driving the grooming narrative, according to a fairly comprehensive research group that has been digging into this stuff. And so here we are. As transgender author Jenny Boylan wrote in the Washington Post, quote, in October, a man attacked a trans librarian in Boise. Other attacks by armed men and groups such as the Proud Boys have disrupted drag-related events in Texas, Nevada, and Oregon. At the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, where I once presented a grand rounds lecture on the variety of trans experiences, security has been increased in the wake of threats to its transgender clinic. In Massachusetts, Boston Children's Hospital reports that its clinicians and staff have received multiple threats of violence. Pete Buttigieg, our Secretary of Transportation, himself a gay man, tweeted yesterday, if you're a politician or media figure who sets up the LGBTQ community to be hated and feared, not because of any of us ever harmed you, but because you find it useful, then don't you dare act surprised when this kind of violence follows. Don't you dare act surprised. Lauren Boebert tweeted, this is absolutely awful, and the victims and their families are in my prayers. And AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, responded on Twitter saying, Lauren Boebert, you have played a major role in elevating anti-LGBTQ plus hate rhetoric and anti-trans lies while spending your time in Congress blocking even the most common sense gun safety laws. You don't get to thoughts and prayers your way out of this. Look inward and change.